Greetings, y'all. So this is a separate topic than what we've been talking about. This is something that's going on a wide scale in Europe and America. Just the outright deliberate hammer is coming down on small, independent farms and just family homesteads. And the only way to beat this stuff is to stand up for yourself, to stand up for your rights, is to say, you're a natural living man or woman. You obviously probably most likely in most certain circumstances have a literal family that you are taking care of with your homestead. That's your rod of power. You are sovereign, living men and women. You're not under the jurisdiction of arbitrary codes and statutes that are of commerce law, aka maritime admiralty codes and statutes. You can say admiralty, maritime, and there's another word you can use. For some reason I'm blanking on it. I'll think of it later. You're not under the jurisdiction of commercial code. You're under the jurisdiction and you reserve your rights under the common law. You can either file and to rescind your UCC 1, and it's plenty of documentation on how to do that on YouTube. You need to make sure you're well studied when you go to do that. If you want to do that first, but you don't have to, because you're still reserving the jurisdiction, the proper jurisdiction, or not reserving, but you are saying that you're not under the jurisdiction of arbitrary codes and statutes as a living man or woman. These codes and statutes are inhibiting your liberty, your pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, as far as the Constitution is concerned. And you have the right to your land and the sovereign control over your land and the sovereign ability to choose what you are going to produce and how much you're going to produce. If you're not hurting your neighbor, then there should be no problem. So you are not going to be held under these kinds of arbitrary codes. It's just that simple. Like, I'm trying to make it more complicated, but it's really just keep it simple. Like, that's all you got to say. This jurisdiction does not apply to you. Okay? You are not a commercial good. You are not at sea. That's why it's good to be unbanked. You see what I'm saying? Don't put your currency, your charges, your flow, your water, don't put that on the bank. You see what I'm saying? Because that's not what you're dealing with. Okay? Liquid, that's why they call it liquidation, right? That's why they want to bank you, because you are at sea, because your commerce, maritime, admiralty jurisdiction as the Uniform Commercial Code incorporated, birth certificate, social security number, paper, straw man, right? That's how people are being tried under false jurisdictions, is because they continue to agree to be under this contract, okay? Or, you never signed the contract. You were tricked into it from birth. But as soon as you wake up, quote unquote, from the matrix, so-called, the womb of the beast system, you can see, you go into court and you say these things, it's case dismissed, the judge will be running you out of there. If you say it just right, you know what I mean? You can't be slipping up, you can't be saying the wrong shit, you can't go in there and say you're a sovereign citizen. No such thing. No such thing. Okay? You're either sovereign, or you're a citizen, or you're a national. Okay? What's called a foreign national, or American national, I think is another term, which has different, jurisdiction too, apart from the normal Uniform Commercial Code, birth certificate, social security number system. Okay? But every man and woman is inherently born sovereign and doesn't know that they are, and doesn't know their rights. And I hear people say it all the time that are supposed to be pro-America, and they're never going to give up their guns and stuff. When it comes to any of their other rights, they just let their rights be trampled, and they say the government's going to do whatever they want. So what's going to come when they come in to get your guns? What are you going to do then? Are you just going to say, here's my gun? What's the difference between them taking your right to the freedom of speech and taking your gun? It's the same difference. You can't let them take any of your rights, because then they'll take them all. Okay? That's why people need to start speaking up. Stand up for yourself. Quit being a little punk, because it's making it worse and harder for everybody. All right, we're going to play this little video, show you what I'm talking about. Attacking small independent farmers and small family farms, and even, maybe scaled up a little bit, middle class kind of operation, organic farming, like maybe they got 500, 600, 700 chickens. They're not going too crazy, but that's still a good count, and they're making some dough or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like small farms that are the best, that produce the best food that we can eat are getting hammered. And we got to stand up for these farmers, because guess what? You ain't getting the clean foods without these kinds of farmers. You ain't getting the clean foods, okay? You want to support a big, giant corporation that's owned by an evil corporation behind the scenes that pretends to be an organic company, and they might have organic products, but really they're owned by Nestle or some shit like that? Or do you want to support these boys, these small boys? And we got to stop letting these farmers get lumped into a brand, and they need to make their own brand so that there's a legitimate competition instead of this crony capitalism monopolized fake organic market where we had giant nasty corporations that run these organic companies. We want every decent sized scaled up farmer, if they got something like 500 to 1,000 chickens, they got 300 acres of crops, but they're still small, they're not huge. 300 acres of crops is a lot. But we need those farmers to start their own brand, to be their own brand, okay? So that they don't get lumped in, and then their integrity is lost in the merger of this conglomeration of fake organic companies that come in and buy up farmers and give them a paycheck and say, you're going to be under our brand, and then they lower their quality. Okay, this happens all over the place. That needs to stop. It needs to be us standing up for what's right all the time and constantly doing business that is anti-dragon with real capitalist competition. I'm not talking about this monopoly stuff. We have to have real capitalism, okay? That's how we gonna get ahead, because then we have people that's product shines that are just small little people. And it's the same with cannabis too. We cannot support this big Walmart cannabis coming into farming. We can't support big corporations cannabis grow ops that are just, they're not going to be exquisitely as nice as the small organic farmer who's growing herb or growing this or that, It's just the way it is, and if we don't start putting our money where our mouth is, we're going to be in trouble, because this shit is all happening so fast. And there's so much shit that's happening so fast that we lose sight of some of the most important things. Who cares what CERN's doing? They're fucking taking our farms. You understand? Who cares about the Mandela effect? You know what I'm saying? That look what they did to women. You know what I mean? We get distracted with this bullshit, and while we're distracted, we ain't doing this. Fighting for farms, fighting for marriage, fighting for, the basic shit, because we don't have the basic shit, we ain't got nothing. You know what I mean?
Let's get on to the shared screen. So this is how it started a year ago, and I covered this a year ago. Chickens kept in gardens will have to be registered under planned new rules. Nothing strange about this, although I did say, wow, if you have 50 birds, you've now got to register. It's a little bit unusual, but okay, well, that's how it was. Well, now they've put these new rules in, which was meant to be for the poultry industry, but now they're saying it's to protect the poultry industry from your birds. And I'm going to show you this map in a moment, because it made me laugh so hard when I saw. We've got to have a look at these maps in a moment. Hold on, let's see if we can find a funny one. Gull. Someone has a gull. One gull. Someone has one gull. Another one had a goose. Someone had a goose, and they've registered their one goose. So now people are starting to register. One person's got a duck.
Can you believe that, guys? these poor citizens are so brainwashed that they're actually going to get a goose or a duck or whatever it is, just one, and they're going to register it. Why? Are y'all a bunch of dummies? Don't you know what the word registry means? First of all, if you have the right to do something, you should not have to pay for a permission slip and a registry, which basically gives the authority over your property to the beast, to the government, to the state. Registry. Why don't you do a little research on that word, Regis? Why don't you do a little research on that word, registry? Why don't you do a little research, see who the king be? Which king? What king? Oh, snap. Vatican / London / Babylon system. Which Regis? Which one? Why is it called registry?
I mean, I just don't know where to start with all of this. It's okay. Farmers Weekly. New rules, so this has just come out, mean all poultry keepers must register their birds. So if you've got a chicken, you are a poultry keeper.
Wait, I gotta say something else. Y'all are some obedient little... I'm just gonna cuss, I don't care. Y'all are some obedient little bitches, aren't you? Whatever daddy, mommy, government says, you get right to it, don't you? Little bitch. You won't obey your husbands, but you'll obey these mofos, okay? You won't obey your husbands, but you'll obey the beast. That's the one telling you to whore around anyway. How? I'm gonna register my one duck. I got one duck. I better make sure Big Brother knows I'm gonna be in big trouble. I could go to prison for 6 months because I didn't tell him I had my duck. You gotta be kidding me, bro. Fuck.
All poultry keepers will be required to log their flocks. Oh, gosh. Imagine you've got 2 chickens. You've got a flock, apparently, now. You're on the same rules as these big companies. On the National Register this autumn, even autumn is fall, by the way, for the North Americans, even if they own just a few birds in a backyard flock. This is to tighten up disease control, apparently.
Rated the best hearing aids of 2023 by Forbes, the Audion Atom 2 series offers superior sound quality.
No, we wouldn't want our nice heirloom birds to spread a little bit of plague, right, upon Tyson factories. Or some whatever corporation. I guess that's how they do it. They're like, oh, lots of people are growing their own birds and raising their own birds for eggs and blah, 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 blah. Those birds are going to have natural heirloom style resistances that our gene pools don't have, so it's a threat to our 4,000 head in one fucking pole barn operations where the chickens never see the light of day, literally. And they're packed in there like sardines. I don't think so. I ain't registering shit. I know this is for the UK, but you're going to talk about some stuff in America supposedly too. And this kind of stuff is happening in America big time. They're going after the Amish. They're going after people who mess with raw milk. People with A2 cows. Man, if it's my choice to decide whether I want to take the vaccine or not, it should be my choice to decide whether I want to drink raw milk or not. Yeah, raw milk could get you really messed up if it got contaminated. But that's on the farmer. He should be making sure his whole practice is clean, and if the animal sticks its foot in the bucket in the middle of milking, you throw that milk out. Don't matter how much money you lost on that milk, you throw that shit out. or you feed it to your animals. I mean, that's the thing about raw milk is, you know, it's got to be collected very clean, and it's got to be kept clean while it's being collected. So I don't know, some people might choose to use a milking machine because the old bucket method, they could stick their foot in there and ruin a whole pail. And if that farmer's like a small milk farmer and he's trying to make a living, and, you know, he counts on every gallon to pay the bills and take care of his kids, you know, because he's doing organic raw milk, and he's just, you know, he's not a grocery store, you know what I mean? He doesn't have guaranteed business every day, you know what I mean? So leave those people alone, man. Same with people who are growing, you know, small batch cannabis, and they just want to kind of sell it like farmers market, keep the market old school, traditional style market, but not like be criminal or anything. Like, leave us alone. Like, that's what I'm trying to do. It's what I'm always going to be doing. I don't care if it's legal or illegal. I'm going to be farmers market style because that's the way it's supposed to be. I grow my mangoes, I grow my whatever it is, and I got my ganja, and dudes come get some watermelon from me. They come get some mangoes. Not that I can grow mangoes in America, but you're just saying, they come get some this and that from me, and I also have some special killer herb. That's a little high dollar than the dispensaries, a little more high dollar, but you're paying for that extra special. You know, like $10 a gram, while the dispensary's selling it for $2. Well, mine's super organic and small scale, so sorry, bro, it's 10, and they'll be glad to pay it. I mean, what's wrong with this world? It needs to be that simple. Like, dude wants to grow some food. He can take it out and sell it on the side of the road if he wants to. No permission slip. Nobody bothering him about it. What's wrong with y'all? Like, y'all want to sign every little paper and every little detail and dot all your I's and cross all your T's on for what? For Babylon? Nah. Their shit's all twisted anyway. Stop giving in to this shit. Stop saying yes to them. Start saying no. Just like these women need to be told no.
And I did look at this. How much is this going to cost if you have to do these vaccine rollouts? Oh, not a lot. For those of you who have got a little shed, only £1,500 per month. So nothing major. Don't worry. It's only going to cost you £1,500 per month for your chicken. How much is that an egg, by the way? Someone just
Did you hear that? Did you just hear that crazy shit? Making sure that your chickens are getting vaccinated or some crazy shit like that, and you're gonna have to pay for it? Nah. And that was a really high number a month? Oh man, something is really twisted about that whole thing. I might have to rewind that because I might not be understanding something here.
Calculate that. Why? Why are they saying? Because it's important that you get these updates that are relevant to you, such as local disease outbreaks and information on biosecurity rules to help protect your chicken. This is also about effective surveillance, yes, because they want to know where your chicken is at all times. This is alongside stringent biosecurity measures, registration.
Dang, we're not talking about growing like opium poppies or weed or tobacco or making beer here. We're talking about growing chickens. You know, like in Colorado, when they legalized weed, the growers have to tag every plant and has to have a barcode on each plant. Not on the plant, but like a tag, you know, that wraps around the stalk, which is absurd. That's called over-regulation. That doesn't give the small guy who has no investment funds to start up, who knows he's good at growing weed and can grow some fire and has something unique. Small little dude like that who has no investing funds can't just pop into the market when it's like that heavily regulated. That's not freedom. That's not capitalism. That pushes the smallest of us out of the whole fucking possibility. And it's the same thing with these chickens. And for those who do can acquiesce to this bullshit, like he showed, people got one duck or one goose or one this and one Goalie, is what they're calling them over there. Is I think what they call them here is guineas. And they're registering one of them. Like, that is so asinine. Like, for real. And then what? When one of these big manufacturers who grow all the GMO chickens and feed them GMO food, when they have like a disease problem because they're giving them too many antibiotics or whatever it is, they can blame old Sally down the road who had the guinea, and they can go test that guinea and be like, "Oh, this is the one. It was the closest to your flock. It had this or this because of the PCR test we gave it." And it's like the PCR test isn't even accurate. So they're gonna do this whole thing with birds, and they're really hitting birds and beef real hard. They don't want us having cattle. They don't want us having no chickens, because those are supreme, easy, maybe not easy, but it's just like perfect, ready, constantly available food, basically. Eggs are laid every day once they start laying. You know, the milk cow starts producing milk every day. You can go out there and get a couple gallons of milk. You see what I'm saying? A couple gallons a day, even for the smaller girls, the smaller, like the heirloom A2 Jersey cows, right? They might do like 1.5 gallons a day. Well, you got a whole family. 1.5 gallons of milk a day is enough for the family. If you have like 2 or 3 kids, a husband and wife, right? It depends on, some people drink more milk than others, but that's probably enough for that size of family every day, if not some leftover to make cheese or heavy cream pulled out of it, or use it for shakes and smoothies. You see what I'm saying? Like, they don't want that. And the reason they don't want this is because, like, with eggs and beef and milk, like, you're talking about the highest quality fats and cholesterols, and as far as affordable and easy to reproduce and easy to get going, you know what I mean, for the most part. And then milk is so versatile. You have cheese and all, so it's high fat, high protein, low sugar products, you know what I mean, which is good for your brain, it's good for your reproductive health. And then, of course, you want all your vegetables too. That's called balance. That's the balance of the whole diet. But those crucial, like, if you didn't have any vegetables and you had just the eggs and the milk and the beef, you'd be good, man. Like, you would be okay. You would need some fruit and vegetables for sure. But, like, I would rather lose the fruits and vegetables before I lost my eggs, milk, and beef products. You see what I'm saying? And poor people might not have beef. They might just have milk and eggs, and then chicken be their meat too. So they have meat birds and egg birds. And that's great too. That's the same idea. Beef is probably a little bit better quality than organic chicken. But if you raise an organic meat bird right, a Cochin heirloom variety, man, it is heavenly meat. It is so good. Okay. And that's why they don't want us. That's why they're pushing this veganism thing. They're hitting animal agriculture like there's no tomorrow. They're hitting plants too, but they're hitting plants from this totally different angle. And they want everybody on a so-called plant-based diet, which half of the products that say plant-based on them have super toxic fucking products in them that are just not good for you. See how they're hitting? It's like they hitting this fucking food thing like they're hitting the sex thing and the marriage thing. It's like we're talking about some of the basic stuff. Okay, you got marriage and sex, and then you got food and agriculture, and then you got, you know, let's see, something else here. Let's see, what else are they hitting there real hard? It's almost like that's all I can think of is sex and marriage and food and agriculture. Like, those are the things that they're just beating with their fucking mallets, you know what I mean? They're just beating the fuck out of them. You know. What else? There's gotta be something else. Oh, drugs, I guess. Yeah, drugs and the whole paradigm of, you know, synthetics versus naturals, and even when it comes to the illicit drug market, how synthetic drugs have taken over and they're 10,000 times worse than the natural illicit drugs. Like, for example, heroin versus fentanyl. Heroin is a semi-synthetic natural derivative, as in it comes from the opium poppy, but then they change it a little bit. It still has its basic main skeletal structure, which is morphine, but then it's acetic anhydride added to morphine, which makes diacetylmorphine, which is heroin, right? But it's still derived from a plant, as in its base is plant-based. It's 90% plant. See what I'm saying? Whereas fentanyl is 100% synthetic, right? And that's an example of like how they've taken over things to push them to their worst, you know. And it's going like this with farming, and the split in the organic versus conventional market should have never existed. Our food should have always been organic. Like if you go to the store and buy a Twinkie, it should already be organic. It can be as Twinkie of a Twinkie as a Twinkie can be, but it could be organic and it wouldn't be nearly as poisonous. Sugar is poisonous, and a dessert like that is probably not very good for you, even if it's organic, but it would probably be 50% better for you than the mainstream Twinkie. And I like to use that example a lot because I try to tell people it's not necessarily the types of food that you're eating more than it is if it's raw, real, creation-based, natural. As in if it's raised the way it was supposed to be raised, the way we've always raised it, versus this modern, in the last 100 years, big ag way of raising it, whether it's crops or animals. Like we have this dichotomy there where conventional should be organic, but it's not. And organic is the way we have raised our products and our crops and animals for thousands of years. And it's only within the last 100 years that we have raised our agricultural products any way other than organic. It's only in the last 100 years. And only in the last 100 years do we have cancer rates sky fucking rocket to the fucking moon. Like everything is killing people. It's all garbage. You can't go to a gas station when you're traveling and even find something worth eating. You might as well just fast. You see what I'm saying? Because it's so toxic. And sometimes you get so hungry you don't know what to do and you gotta eat something. You know what I mean? If you're working or some shit. I'm just going on a long rant here, but this is all connected to what's going on with these farms. And even if you're not called to be a farmer, I can guarantee you're called to support regular, small people farmers. You know what I mean? Versus Walmart and all this other stuff. I don't care if Walmart's buying produce from so-called organic farmers. You need to support the guy you can shake his hand and you know he owns that farm and you know how he fertilizes it. Because those people need to be blessed financially more than any of this other stuff. And I'm not perfect in this regard because I'm hopping around right now, but it's hard to find some things, you know. Like when I was in Kentucky, there ain't a bunch of organic farmers around there, you know. So I didn't really have a choice. I'm just saying we should make more of an effort to A, buy land and start producing our own produce and crops and animals. But also, if you're not called to do that, you need to be buying your stuff from those who are. Even if it's a super small family farm who just sells a little bit of eggs on the side. Buy their eggs. Don't buy somebody else's eggs. Don't buy the store's eggs. Stop supporting these stores. Okay? We can build. We don't have to accept this dystopian nightmare that they're building for us. We can choose consciously to not consent to their shit and build our own economy based on gold, silver, cash, trading, and bartering. Like, we do not have to do all this tech stuff. We don't have to be on the grid all the time. We don't have to be getting scanned and our identity checked everywhere we fucking go. If we want to buy tobacco or this or that or do anything at all, you need an ID for now. Like, we do not have to consent to that, and we can continue to do things privately in a lawful, righteous manner. And as long as we do it in a lawful, righteous manner, and by lawful, I mean really lawful. I'm not talking about obeying arbitrary. I'm saying going against what is arbitrary. As long as you're moral and righteous in the act, they cannot say shit to us. They can try, and then when you go to court, it'll be case dismissed. Yovas? Because that's what you got to start doing is ovas. We cannot let them take our life away. Take our right to have one fucking chicken without their fucking nosy ass all up in it. Knowing that we got that one chicken. Why do they give a fuck? They present all these reasons why they need to know why we have one chicken. But they're all bullshit. It's because they want to control fucking everything. And damn, nobody is going to tell me otherwise. And they want to prevent you from being self-sufficient. They want to prevent you from being your own supply of most of the things you need in life, from food and medicine. Like, not everybody can be a farmer, like I said, and that's good because that supports the farmer, because that means people are going to buy things from the farmer, and the farmer isn't just growing for his own belly, right? That's a blessing to being a farmer, is that you don't have to buy as much food and medicine because you grew it all, right? But at the same time, a farmer still needs money to go and do things, like if he wants to go somewhere, you know, if he wants to do something, if he wants to go to a city or do whatever, right? So we need this. There's this dichotomy here that's playing a part of the destruction of farming, and it's splitting right down the middle, city folk from country folk, when really the country folk need the city folk to buy their produce and crops and animals, and the city folk need the country folk to grow and raise those things clean and organic and sell it directly to them. So this like, yo, you're a city boy, so you're a little pussy, or whatever, you're soft, or vice versa. Oh, you're a country boy, so you're a hillbilly fucking ignorant dumbass. That's got to stop, because these two groups need to work together, okay? Period. They feed off of each other. Pragmatically, automatically, they need each other. And this is why I'm always talking about pragmatism. It doesn't matter if this dude over here is Muslim, as long as he's not doing anything wicked. Like Haile-Selassie said, plurality without partiality. And it's the same with this whole big picture. Everything's fractalized together into one knit tapestry. That's why I can jump from one thing to the next, and it's all fluid. It's all the same thing. It's the same principles that need to be applied to every topic. Okay? This farming shit, they don't need to know if I got 200 or 300 chickens. It's not their fucking business. Even if I had 3,000. As long as I'm not doing anything to upset or hurt my neighbors, it shouldn't be an issue. I'm not the one cooking and selling it. The regulation to make sure food is clean, that's not at the farmer's level when it comes to birds. When he sells the birds and the birds are processed, that's where they're checked. Okay? The farmer doesn't need to be harassed about this petty-ass bullshit and charged more money that he doesn't need to be spending. I don't care how much it is. I don't care if it's $1 for registry. Not acceptable. Okay? It's arbitrary.
And it's just another tool to safeguard bird health. Bird keepers will need to provide information, including your contact details, the exact location where your bird is kept,
wow,
and the details.
Plus, what if I don't give my birds your mainstream vaccine bullshit? What if I want to give my birds rosemary oil or oregano oil, diluted, super diluted in their food supply or their water supply once a week? That works perfectly fine. I'm not taking them fucking vaccines for my birds. I'm not taking them for me. My children aren't going to get any. My wife isn't getting any. Nothing on my land has anything to do with that shit, because that shit is unholy, because I'm a Rastafari and I do not consent to that shit, period. And if you cannot make me do it. And I will encourage everybody, regardless of race, religion, or creed, to do the same. Because y'all are going to get sunk. To be sympathetic to the imbalance is to sink the boat that you are on. People talk all this love stuff. No. We are not going to be sympathetic to this imbalance, because we want goodness, truth, and righteousness. We cannot continue to just allow wickedness and evil and tyranny to rule our fucking lives. If you can be sympathetic to so much else in your life, your friends. You can give them forgiveness. You can to your mother and your father. But why does everybody want to continue to be forgiving and turn their cheek to the beast system, which is trampling on us when we should be trampling on it? Without violence and without chaos, we need to stand up for what's right and our rights, period. Rastafari, truth and rights, all day, every day, man. This is bullshit, and it will not continue on my fucking watch.
Of the bird. And you have to fill in the form. This is legit. I did look the form up. You have to explain your reason for having that bird. or having your, let's just say 2 chickens, right? 2 or 3 chickens. You have to, it says justification for keeping the birds. You've got to justify to the government why you've got a couple of chickens.
This shit is pissing me off.
Oh, goodness.
Bad.
Hey, this is the Twilight Zone. When do you have to do this by? The 1st of October 2024. But if you're in Scotland, you've got even less time. It's the 1st of September 2024. You will be legally required to do this on an annual basis. And that's not all. There's also a fee. Oh, yes. We'll get on to the fee. Avian influenza cases in controlled zones. Interesting. We've got these zones. Animal Plant Health Agency. Interesting. So now there's all these, here's the zones that are in force right now. These are all your different zones if you're in the UK. And, oh gosh, this one just made me laugh so much. A gull. Okay, we got a gull. We have a swan, right? Someone's got a swan over there in Wales. Okay, a pet swan or something. We have a goose. Someone's registered their goose. Okay, so it's good to see that people are starting to register their birds here. We need to do this in order to protect, I'm not even sure, but here's the rest of it. This has just come out. This is a bit like me in the background, and there's my wife Kristen holding the chicken. Yes, you get a £5,000 fine if you don't register your chickens. Or you could get 6 months in prison next to that violent offender who's just got 3 months and is probably out on probation in 4 weeks or 6 weeks. It follows a consultation with most this is what made me laugh, with most respondents favoring keeping the existing regulations, with just 13% backing the change to registration for one, look at this, I'm trying to say this without laughing, for one bird or more. So only 13% of people wanted this, but yet it passed anyway. So they had a consultation and only 13% backed it, but they passed it anyway. It's a bit like what happened with the Oxford City with a consultation on the driving rules, and yet they passed it anyway. To register, the birds you need to get a parish holding number from the, what's it called? The Rural Payments Agency. That's an interesting title for bird health. It's a payments agency. I see. The UK is completely avian flu free, but the changes are to limit future disease outbreaks. Got it. I see. That's what it's for. And then there's all these articles coming out. Chickens cost £5 per egg. Yes, there is £5 an egg. And it's an addiction, apparently. You need to be careful because it's becoming an addiction. And next thing you know, you'll be going to the doctor because of this addiction to free-range eggs. Oh, gosh. Owners can be drowning. Can you imagine drowning? I mean, I just can't imagine this. I'm there, I'm just drowning in eggs. There's so many eggs. They filled the entire room. I'm just drowning in all these eggs, apparently. Getting by with a steady daily limit. I mean, But regardless of the egg count, the upkeep of looking after a backyard flock can rack up, with owners joking, I've never heard this joke, but okay, it would be cheaper to buy diamond earrings. I think the writers just made that up. I've never heard anyone say that before, that it's cheaper than diamond, cheaper to buy diamond earrings. But there we go. And what has this resulted in? We've also got 140 million.
Doesn't that kind of defeat the whole purpose of raising the chickens for eggs in the first place? I mean, I didn't know what the numbers exactly ended up being, if it was like counting how many eggs dude eats per year. It's $1,500 worth of eggs, sounds about right. Except for you're talking about way less eggs for $1,500 than you would get from the grocery store. Yeah, that's ridiculous, man. It sounds like a family would probably spend about $1,500 on eggs a year. Maybe that sounds reasonable if they're buying top shelf organic and they were getting 12 eggs for like $7 or $8, maybe $6 to $8, depending on where you're getting them, depending on the price. I've seen conventional eggs at one time this last year go up to $8 a carton. That was a fraud. That whole thing was fake, man. The organic eggs didn't go up because they were already that high, basically. But yeah, there was a time last year in Kentucky where I seen conventional mainstream shitball eggs that are normally $1 a carton were $8 for like 3 months. Like, what? Or maybe it was a month and a half or two. It was like pretty long time. People were pissed about it. But they had their own eggs at home. A lot of them did. They didn't have to worry about it. See? They want us to be freaking out when shit hits the fan if they can actually make the shit hit the fan. Which we know they could probably pull some shit worldwide and make everybody flip. But if we got all this stuff on lock and it's not registered, because it doesn't need to be registered, we're good to go. You see what I'm saying? If everything is registered, when some worldwide catastrophe or national catastrophe happens, they'll be like, these people all have chickens. So we're going to confiscate those chickens for the sake of the greater good. Do you hear me? Are you going to keep lollygagging around, or are you going to start doing something about it? Are you going to at least make a YouTube video and express that it pisses you off and say that you don't consent to any of this bullshit? Or are you going to sit back and watch? Keep watching like it's a TV show. That's what Babylon has done to everybody. Y'all are so used to watching traumatic experiences on the TV that when it happens in real life, it's just a show. It's just a show. We'll go on to the next episode. It'll probably get fixed in the next episode. It'll be cool. I don't have to do nothing. It'll be fixed. Somebody else will do something. Well, if everybody's saying somebody else is going to do something, by the time it gets down to the time to do something, not enough people are doing something about it. And then we go on to the next episode and shit is the same. Just like Bob Marley said, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Change, change, change is all they want us to see. A change, everything's a changing so fast. Changing for what? Changing for tyranny, fascism, fake conservatism, fake capitalism, which is crony, monopolized venture capitalists and future prospectors and people who make money out of thin air and people who want to enslave you on both the left and the right. And then you got the communist fucking part of this whole thing, which is just as erroneous and wicked. And I feel like people are failing to punch both left and right in this whole game. They just want to keep punching left because it looks so obvious to punch left. But they're failing to see that if we don't punch both ways and demand a narrow and straight path in the middle between the two of righteousness, truth, and morality, then we're going to have a fucking serious problem here. Okay? Because I don't know about you, but nobody is coming and taking my fucking chickens if I got them and I got my own land. You ain't touching my fucking chickens. I will stand up with a fucking gun and shoot you for touching my chickens. You understand that? And I'm not talking about somebody who wants to come pet my chickens. I'm talking about the government brings in a fucking SWAT team and tries to grab my chickens. I ain't having it. I don't care if I go out dying. At least I go out for freedom. And the difference between right and wrong, I'm willing to die for the name of Jesus Christ, but I am not willing to die for my chickens. I will fight for my chickens and stand my fucking ground until they leave. Okay? What I mean by that might not have made sense to y'all, is I'll lay down my life, you understand? I'll lay it down. As in, I would give them my chickens if it was for Jesus. Like, as in, I would take the smiting for Jesus. But this ain't for Jesus. You understand? This is just them fucking taking what's ours. Okay? So I ain't letting it happen. I guess hopefully that cleared up what I was trying to say. That might not have made sense because you're thinking I'm going to die for my chickens because I'm going to get shot because I stood up for my land. No, I'm not talking about making the first shot. I'm saying I'll have me and my homies there if this is actually the case and I have a land and I have chickens and cows and whatever, if that ever happens. Me and my boys and my girls will be standing out there armed and we'll say, bring it. Come take the fucking chickens. Let's see what happens. You want to trample our fucking rights and obey a tyrannous government? Then we're going to take a a stand here and say no. You think those soldiers are really going to come in blazing? Or are they going to just turn around and leave? Most of the time, they're going to turn around and leave. It's the same in the courtroom. You stand up for what's right, you speak correctly, you say the right words, and you know your shit, you know your rights. The judge is going to tuck tail and run. 99.9% guaranteed. The only way he wouldn't is if you said something incorrectly, or if he was just curious to know a little bit more about what you know, or if you try to get him for damages for wasting your time and taking away work time and wasting your time to pay up for wasting your time, then he won't be able to tuck tail and run just quite. If you get those words in, you need to get compensated for wasting your time coming in for driving without a license or some bullshit like that. Arbitrary. America has been taken over with arbitrary codes and statutes. I'm not against traffic laws. I'm not against basic common sense shit. But when it comes to my freedom and my rights that I know for a fact are my freedom and my rights, I ain't giving it up. And I'm going to tell others the same. Because all I see is a bunch of fucking beta males that just say, let the government's going to do whatever they want. I can't do nothing about it. Really? Yeah, because you're a little bitch. Because you're too scared to say what needs to be said. These are the rights of man and woman. They shall not be trampled. And Rastafari has been proclaiming that doctrine and that truth from day one. Our rights are final. That is the end of discussion. Period. You will not violate our rights given to us by the Most High JAH, unalienable rights, and backed up by the constitutional monarchy of Ethiopia, the Constitution of the United States of America, common law, natural law, okay? And everything that they write into codes and statutes is an arbitrary thing. Most of them are bullshit, almost all of them. The fact that you got to have insurance to drive, all of those things are arbitrary. And it's time to stop consenting and pretending like you signed a contract with informed consent, because you didn't get no information and you were not even given the legitimate ability to choose to consent to signing a contract you know nothing about, because they give it to you when you're born as if you have some sort of consciousness to be able to comprehend the contract. Your parents don't even comprehend the contract. They're just doing what they were told to do and what everybody else does. Everybody's been tricked in being under this contract, and it's not good. It's not good for you. It's not good for me. For a time, it might have looked good, but the more and more we go forward into the future, the more and more retarded and arbitrary and violation of the law of this country and many countries it is. It is a violation of natural rights that each man and woman has. I have the right to travel. I have the right to say what the fuck I want to say, no matter who it offends, as long as I'm not inciting violence or trying to threaten somebody deliberately. I have the right to bear arms, period. I have the right to the freedom of the press. I have the right to private property and the pursuit of happiness. You know, on and on. So, I have the right to choose what goes into my body. Cannabis, organic food, no vaccines, no big pharma, no drugs. Some things I take people might say is a drug, but not to me. It's a medicine, and it's an herb, okay? And it's done nothing but bless my life. Okay? The only things you see people getting super strung out on are things that are refined, purified to a purity that is dangerous, or souped up and derived and then semi-synthetically amped up. And then when you get into full synthetics, you have serious problems. People have serious problems. These kids are dropping dead everywhere on fentanyl like it ain't nothing. People, this shit is so strong they can spray you with it, and then you'll nod off, and they'll take you and Narcan you and sell you to a human trafficker for 85 grand. You get 85 grand per healthy man, and I don't know how much you get for a woman, but I'm assuming it's 120 plus thousand, and that's, we got that kind of shit. Oh yeah, we got this, all this wicked stuff going on. People are worried about Mandela effect or CERN, and I'm saying CERN is twisted. I'm not down with CERN. It should be shut down, and those people should probably be arrested for what they're trying to do at CERN. But that's a totally different thing to tackle than our farms getting taken away. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's going to be a lot harder to get CERN shut down than it is to keep our farms going. It's going to be a lot easier of a battle to get our farms back up and to make sure these people ain't making a registry of one bird or any birds or any cows for that matter. It's ridiculous. I'm just ranting at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and end the video. In the name of Jesus Christ, y'all be blessed. Hope you enjoyed my little ranting. I'll go ahead and end the video in the last 9 minutes with this video playing back here to finish up what he's saying. I get real excited about farming and agriculture. It makes me passionate. When I hear something like this, it makes me on fire. I can't stand it. And all I've ever wanted to do since I was like 15 years old is have a farm and raise my own crops and my own animals. And when I see this kind of shit, I'm 40 years old already, and I don't even have any land, and I've planted so many gardens at other people's properties, and not even gotten to enjoy the fruit of them. I get all the way up to the point to where I'm about to enjoy the fruit of it, and something happens where these people are wicked or whatever, and I just don't want to be there anymore, and I leave. That's happened to me like 30 million times. Where I plant somebody else's garden and it's fucking killer, and then I don't get to eat none of it. You know what I mean? It makes me so upset to see this kind of stuff happen, because I don't even have any land yet, and here it is. They're trying to make it to where people are going to register every fucking chicken they got. And it makes me want to cry. Like, let's leave us alone. I don't even have the land yet, and it's just like killing me. Like, how's it going to be when I'm going to be like 70 years old and I'll finally be able to buy some land because I have no inheritance. I have nothing given to me to boost my life. I'm raw, like I got nothing. You know what I mean? Like, nobody is going to give me any inheritance or anything like that. So I'll never own a home unless I work myself to death and sling as much herb as I can before it's legalized everywhere, before it's fucking ruined and the whole market is trashed. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know what to do. And here I might be able to save up 10 grand and be able to get a one little acre somewhere. But if they're doing this crazy shit, by the time I get to that point, I'll be 60, and I ain't gonna register no chickens, and I'm not gonna have nothing to do with any of that. I'm just gonna do what I'm doing, and then everybody else can kick rocks. I'm 40 years old already. It's killing me. I gotta own some land. And everything's prices are going up everywhere. The land that I had on my list to buy in certain states, though that was cheap, good land, used to be, $500 to $1,500 an acre. All those places, that land is doubled or tripled. So the prospects of me being able to buy land have changed. And that's why I'm stuck on this path of trying to get to that point. And maybe God doesn't want me to buy land. Maybe God doesn't want me to do any of that. I don't know. But I've always felt in my heart that that's what I'm supposed to do. And I can't get it. Like, I'm trying. I try all the time. I'm always trying to save money and get it up to the point to where I can do that. But like I said, guys, before, I'm all the way off grid. I can't just go get a normal job somewhere. I have to work under the table for somebody. And it used to be great. I used to get paid $20 an hour, but everything's changed in the last 3 or 4 years. Nothing's like that anymore. It's all fucking gone. I don't know. Herman stuff pisses me off. I'm gonna let him talk now. I'm done.
Birds, again, we talked about this. This is right through the US as well. The US is culling hundreds of millions of birds. If they find even one outbreak, they all get culled like this here. People are going crazy about this, saying that it's completely wrong to do it. Where do we even start with all this? Yeah, I'm in a jovial mood today, which I shouldn't be. I was actually out back today doing a big clear up, and I stabbed myself in the right eye. So if one eye's looking this way, one's looking the other on this stream. That's why I stabbed myself out of this eye. I can't even see out of it. Everything's a blur. But, you just got to smile sometimes and laugh about these things. Another thing that's been announced then, I just pulled this up today. Cattle in the USA. I had to look this up because someone told me about it and I thought it was a joke. Congress has passed a measure allocating $15 million, which is going to the big companies, for electronic livestock tracking. And a lot of that money is going to the software and these contracts, raising concerns about government overreach and the potential to limit beef consumption. Really? You think they want to limit beef consumption? I just cannot believe that at all. So they want to put these tags on all cattle so that they know where the cattle...
Did you hear that? What have I been saying for 8 years now? They don't want us having good beef. You know why? Because it's the most nutritious, brain-activating food that you can eat. The fat in clean, organic, properly raised beef is top-notch. Your brain is made out of fat and saturated fat and cholesterol. Mostly saturated fat and cholesterol. I think it's like 70%. Same with your balls and your ovaries, men and women. So if you want to have a higher ability to have children, you want to have a healthier testosterone level, etc. Your brain, cognitive ability to be on point. Like some people, I don't know about if y'all know this, but there's this whole like fad. I don't know if it's still a fad, but people were into it for a while, and I did too, and I still do it every once in a while, is put a tablespoon of coconut oil and a tablespoon or two of organic grass-fed butter in your coffee and turn it on with a wand blender and blend it up. I'll throw a little bit of milk in there too, or cream, like half and half, and blend that sucker up and drink your coffee, man. Your brain is like on fire all day. Like you're just like killing it. Like you take some CBD with it on top of that and you're really going to be balling. Like you're just like dialed in, man. And it's not going to make you fat. The whole concept that fat makes you fat, not true. It's the kind of fat that makes you fat and a kind of fat that doesn't. It's like that. Butter is the best, hands down, in my opinion, based on my research, thorough research, that butter is the best, organic grass-fed butter is the best fat you can use for cooking, for eating, fresh, for everything. Butter is the dog, it's the top dog, it's the boss, okay? Milk and honey, baby. That's what JAH said. All this vegan shit ain't got nothing to do with the milk and honey. Those are two animal products. Milk and honey. The land flowing with milk and honey. If milk and honey ain't good, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, what? Yeah, so they're getting rid of the whole concept of eating animal products at all. Because we were vegetarians in the garden, right? Even if we were, okay, which I'm not saying we weren't or we were. I'm just saying nobody really actually knows that for sure. And secondly, the first slaughter was the two lambs that made the lamb skins to cover Adam and Eve. And last I checked, we're still ashamed when we're naked. I mean, in a basic sense, we still got to wear clothes. We ain't back in the garden yet. So if the Babylon New World Order system's trying to take our meat away and do all this stuff with animal agriculture, you got to put 2 + 2 = 4, man. Veganism is not the shit. It's not the truth, okay? We're not at that point yet. We go back to the garden, okay, and if JAH says that's the way it is, that's the way it is, but that ain't the way it is here, okay?
is at any one point. And they said that this will stop the cattle from going into other areas and spreading disease. Now,
Jobless.